Voices from the Mausoleum is brought to you by the You Run Podcast Network and yourunpodcast.com.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Voices from the Mausoleum, and happy Friday. This is a brand new Found Footage Friday, and we're doing things a little bit differently. Normally, we do movie reviews, but I had the absolute pleasure of sitting with a found footage filmmaker today instead. So today, I am joined by Emil Strom, who is the writer, director, and an actor in the new found footage movie Winemaker. How are you? Thanks for joining me.
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. Doing
Yeah,
good. It's almost the weekend. So close. Yeah, cool. So I've been preaching about the Found streaming service since it got released in October. And so Winemaker premiered on there just a couple of weeks prior to this conversation. And I was very fortunate enough to get information to talk to you and to reach out. And so here we are. So we're going to talk about Winemaker. For anybody curious, because it is a little bit different than the normal Found Footage Fridays, we are going to do a non-spoiler chat. And then I will put a banner up when we decide to dive into some more storyline things. Found is free. You should absolutely go check this out and all their other stuff as well. So there's no excuse not to watch it. And yeah, so cool. So I want to kind of get to know you a little bit better before we kind of jump into just Winemaker. And I kind of wanted to talk about just your history with filmmaking, how you got into it, where you started, and kind of how you ended up here.
Yeah. My journey started in acting, so I was always wanted to be an actor. So I've always taken classes for many, many years. And something that was always told at classes was write your own things, like do your own projects, film your own things. So that's just where Winemaker came from, really. Just years of just nothing really happening, so you just have to make it yourself. And then, so that's what I did.
No, I love it. Yeah. Because I didn't realize at the time when we were communicating that you are one of the main characters.
Oh, yes,
I didn't realize
correct,
it when we were chatting. It wasn't until I went to look on, just the IMDb, and I was just looking it up. I was like, oh, okay, I got it.
Yes. I've done pretty much everything for this, like writing, acting, directing, editing, which has been my favorite part. And now here we are. So it's live now on FoundTV. So that's awesome. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it is awesome. They are so open to indie filmmakers and giving people chances, and I love that.
They actually reached out to me, asked for a screener. So I'm really grateful that they even approached me. So very happy with them. They're very cool.
Yeah, and is this the only place it's been? Did you do festivals or anything for this movie?
Yes, it's been in a couple of festivals. It's currently on FoundTV. It will be on other places, but currently it's on FoundTV. Yes.
Yeah, cool. Oh, cool. Do you want to give us a brief synopsis of Winemaker?
Oh yeah, sure. It's about my character. I play Hans. He's a video maker. He documents. He likes to document people who makes wine. And he's found this guy called Jack, and he does it in a very strange ways. The background is that he found some information online, and he just want to check it out. And then the story starts there at Jack's place, the winemaker.
Yeah, very cool. There is literally nothing else like this storyline wise on, I would say, I don't know, not just found footage, but I mean, even in the horror genre as well. So I went in like completely blind. I didn't look up anything about the movie before I watched it. And I was just, it's incredibly unique. So I love the concept. I think it's super neat. And so I wanted to say too, because I've talked to a couple of other people that are kind of like found footage junkies like myself. And this kind of what I've been kind of telling people about it to kind of get them interested is I know a lot of people that are fans of like the Andy Baker tape and like Creep in specific. And I feel like while this is definitely a completely unique experience to those other two films, I sort of felt like it was in a similar wheelhouse. So that's what I've been telling people. I'm like, I feel like if you enjoyed Creep or the Andy Baker tape, I think this is going to be something really up your alley. So far, I've been right. The people that have checked it out have been like, oh yeah. No, it's what I call like people found footage, which I think is, actually surprisingly, I don't think is as common as some of the other like supernatural stuff. So it was very refreshing to see, for sure. And yeah, and
Yeah, for sure.
I want to talk about like kind of where the inspiration for the story came from, because this is a very cool story to tell, you know, via found footage. And yeah, I just wanted to know a little bit more about where you got the ideas to do this particular story.
So through acting classes, obviously I've become friends with people. So Barry, who plays Jack, we used to go to acting class together.
Yeah.
So I think it was just, so I wrote it with him in mind. So I
Oh,
know that
okay.
he's like into doing wines and all of that. So I just had him in mind. So I wrote it first.
Oh,
Yeah, and then I presented it to him. Are you in or not? And then he was in. So we went from there. So yeah, I think as an indie filmmaker, like it's all about just doing what you have available. So like, okay, we
yeah.
all have a right. What means do you have? Obviously, this is micro, super low budget, and what can I do with that? So that
Yeah.
was one of the many ideas that I've had, and he said yes. So I went from there. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's neat. I didn't know. So that's something that he does in real life. He's into winemaking.
Well, yes, as a hobby, I think. You know, watch this,
Okay. That's interesting. Huh. Huh. Little truth to it. I like it. And I wanted to talk about this as well briefly, because I thought that the design for the movie poster is really wicked too.
Yes, that's by Evan. I forgot his last name now, but he's on Instagram. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I saw previous works, and then we just workshopped this together. But yeah, he did an incredible job. I'm very happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm really happy.
Yeah.
Poster.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that the poster gets your attention, which I'm guilty of this, where if I see a poster that I think doesn't look very serious or very good, then I may not watch the movie. So, or I may take a
Yeah.
lot longer to get to it. But I think this would have been one that would have caught my attention, even if I wasn't in contact with the people from Found, because I think the poster is stunning. I think it looks really cool. I love having everything kind of sitting in the middle of the glass. I just think it's very pretty. So yeah, Evan did a great job. I love it.
Yes, he did. Yeah, I'm very grateful.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and of course, like I've mentioned, I'm a huge found footage fan. Like it is my favorite subgenre. Obviously I have a whole series about it on the channel. Um, is the low budget element kind of the reason you went found footage, or is that something that you just already had an interest in?
I've always had an interest in it, yes, but
Yeah.
obviously it works because I had a very low budget. But I've
No,
always
sure.
enjoyed fun footage. Yeah, I would say my favorite movie is Chronicle. Obviously, that's a very high budget movie, but yeah, I've
Yeah, it's
always
good though.
enjoyed the fun footage aspect. And as you mentioned earlier, Creep and the Andy Baker tape has been my inspiration too. So yeah,
Oh, cool.
uh,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's two-hander miss. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Found footage is such a great subgenre for people to do with low budget too. And I'm always
yeah,
impressed with what people can come up with these like micro budget films, because it's like there's so many that I think far surpass the ones that have money just thrown at them, you know? So it's always impressive what people can do with the smaller budget stuff, especially making it found footage. Um,
yeah.
yeah. Oh, cool. Um, yeah, I didn't mention this yet, but I really liked this movie. I was, again, went in completely blind. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. But I wanted to note, before we dive too much into spoiler territory, I did want to give a few notes on my thoughts for people who are watching it that are going to stop and then go watch it themselves. I thought the acting in this was phenomenal. Like, you both
Oh,
were just so convincing in your individual respective roles that from the moment that Hans gets there, I'm like, I don't know about this. Like, there's just this immediate like sense of, oh, you know what I mean? Like, unease.
yeah,
And then there's some really cool shots in particular that you did, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, that I think
yeah,
really set up the tension building in this to kind of escalate that little bit of discomfort to like, all my red alarms are going off now, you know? Um, and I wanted to note this as well. There is kind of a shift towards the end of the movie, and the ending as well, that I just thought I didn't see coming. Like I thought there were elements of that were insanely unique and was not predictable at all. I watched so many found footage movies that so often, 20 minutes in, I already know everything that's going to happen. So I loved that was not the case in this. So I just wanted to tell you that I thought all of that stuff was done really, really well.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bizarre to hear the feedback. So it's quite. So thank you. I appreciate anyone who watches. Thank you.
Yeah. And for what it's worth, because people who hear me compare anything to either Creep or the Andy Baker tapes, I actually did not like either of those films. They're not two of my favorites at all. I tend to lead more towards like the supernatural stuff. So I think it's an interesting testament for that I did really enjoy this, because like typically it may not have been something I would have been if it was more like the others, but the others just had things that were missing for me that this did not miss. And so, yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. And it was really cool to see. And I've had a couple people message me about it that really did enjoy it. So I think it seems to be getting, people seem to really be enjoying it, which is nice to see.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about some plot points. If you are watching up to this point, we are going to dive into some spoilers. Again, FoundTV is free. You don't have to pay to watch this. You can go there and watch it. And it's definitely worth giving a shot. I think if you're a fan of the other two, but I think just as a fan of found footage in general, I think this is going to check a lot of boxes. So yeah, it's definitely go check out Winemaker. You can watch it on Found, and then soon somewhere else, hopefully, at other places. So I'm going to put up our little banner for spoilers just for anybody that gets to this part so they know. There we go. First I kind of want to talk about the differences between Jack and Hans, because these two characters starting out feel like they have nothing in common. And then there's this middle shift of the film when things start to go awry and things start to go crazy, where you realize they're really not maybe as different as I thought they were. And I kind of just wanted to pick your brain and hear how you went into writing these characters the way that they're written, considering that they do kind of pivot later in the film.
Yeah, I just wanted not two polar opposite, but I wanted just two different characters meeting. I mean, obviously, it's based a lot on our own personalities as people as well. But I just wanted the. We shot a lot of very improv, obviously, the style, but we shot a lot of scenes where, okay, this is the concept, and then let's see where it goes. So a lot of it that you see in it was not actually in the script, so that just happened naturally. So, like for example, we're on spoiler territory now, but like when he's by the vines and that laughter and stuff, and he falls down on his back, so that was not in the script, and that just happened organically. So like stuff like that. So
yeah, I've been hearing I feel like more people are talking about just kind of letting things flow. And I think it works because I don't think there's the way the scenes and the story kind of plays out. There's not really it never feels disconnected at all. It just feels like it just goes, so that makes sense to me to do it that way, especially if there's scenes that, it's easier to maybe set the tone and then just see what happens. I like that. That's an interesting thing.
And that was just one take as well. So I was like, okay, I'm happy with that. So let's move on.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
But obviously other scenes we had many takes, so just depending on
Yeah, I really loved, I think one of my favorite, and this is kind of really when things start amping up, but one of my favorite things that I felt like was one of the concepts that I've seen the idea before, but not executed this way, was when he is watching him sleep on the couch. So when Jack gets the camera, and there's that immediate, when you're asleep, you're so vulnerable. So as a viewer, you're just like, oh no. But there's that time when he loops back around and you're not there anymore, that I was like, wait, this is now we're going somewhere different than what I was anticipating. And I loved just kind of that whole flow of events leading from when he picks the camera up to when Hans is sleeping and then he's not there. And I just like, and then that's like I said, that's when everything starts to really kind of pick up and go really crazy. So, but I thought that was a really cool way to take that feeling of discomfort and kind of shifting it and putting it back. Like I was almost worried about Jack. I was like, where did he go? It was a cool like mind shift for me as a viewer to go from one feeling to the other so quickly. So I really love the way that was done too. I thought that was really smart.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I just wanted to do something unique and different there as well. So yeah, just keeping the view on it at all time, I would say. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that's, you nailed it. Cause I think one of the things I've been struggling with, cause I do consume a lot of horror movies. I have a horror channel. Is you consume so much of it that it's really hard to, I think, get engaged with films. It's like harder for me. And so what I will say too is even from the beginning, I was invested in the story. I really liked the kind of the setup, and I really came to really like your character. And so then it was just easier for me to kind of just go on this journey with him. Whereas sometimes I'm like watching it, I'm like, when is this gonna, and I didn't feel that way with this because, and maybe it's because you didn't, obviously you said you had met in acting classes, I think you said. And so when you already had like an established connection, which I think made y'all's interactions on camera even stronger and then even more believable to the viewer.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
And really, without breaking the movie down moment by moment, the other thing I really am just dying to talk about is the ending. And kind of where you got to this point where you wanted to take what we thought we knew about the story and then kind of shifting gears and towards the end. And I just wanted to hear like you talk about that, I guess, just in general, because I'm super intrigued by that. Because I got to the ending and I was like, I had to sit with it. I was like, wait, what? And so anyway, so I just kind of want to talk about that a little bit and hear kind of what you thought, what your thoughts were when you wrote the ending and how that went and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, if we speak about the scene where you see my character the last time, so that was actually the idea that the whole movie is based upon. So I came up with that ending first, and then I wrote the movie backwards from there.
Okay.
So I always wanted it to go there.
Okay.
And yes, that was my process.
Yeah, you started at the end and then
I worked my way backwards. So I always do sort of. I mean, in a way, it was sort of like a revenge movie, but obviously not
not sure.
Not in your face kind of thing, but sort of like that kind of style in a way.
Yeah. And then with it ending and then kind of showing the other people that are going to go, what are you hoping people take away from that ending of just getting to this place where we see Hans and his last little section, and then moving on to other content creators, other people who do vlogging and stuff, talking about going to do the same thing. What are you hoping people walk away from thinking about with that ending? It's an intense shift. I love it.
I don't know. Be careful who you meet online. Good question. I just wanted to make something that make the viewer think. So I'm not really sure what I would want them specifically to think, but just make them think different. Again, like the original ending was the one where the scene where I am in by the pool table. So that was like the goal, but then he just evolved into the final scene there as well. So
it definitely made me think, because I didn't expect it. I really thought the pool scene was going to be the last scene, because that's how it's kind of presented. And then when it shifted to the next, scene, and it was like more people, and I was like, what? It was a great feeling, because again, you get so used to, if you watch a lot of the found footage style movies, you get used to the same stuff kind of over and over again. But there are some really great, unique things out there. You just have to find them. And so when I got to this and that part in particular, I was like, wait. I was like, what? So I think you accomplished that.
Oh, thank you. It was just supposed to be actually one person there at the end, but then I expanded it to several. And yeah, I mean, who knows if I make a follow-up? I mean, there can be many different ways a follow-up of Winemaker, can happen. So yeah,
Yeah.
So definitely the topic of the movie is not fully explored. I feel this is more like a prequel of sorts if I were to continue to do a sequel. So we'll see what happens. But
yeah. Because that's actually what I was going to ask, and I didn't know if you would even want to answer, but I was going to ask that if there was intentions to do more with this kind of world you created.
Well, I'm currently writing another movie right now. It is not a Winemaker sequel, but am I open to a sequel? Definitely, 100%. And I'm open to, again, just like this movie. I like when people get surprised or they don't know what's going to happen. So for a sequel, it would definitely be the same theme that you wouldn't know, hopefully, how it would end. So we'll see about that. That would be the idea if I were to make a sequel.
Yeah. It would be cool to see more from this story, I think. But at the same time, if you didn't decide, I don't feel like I was robbed or anything. It's definitely a complete enough that you feel like you feel good with the way, if it was just to be a one-off kind of movie, but I am very intrigued given the way that you ended it, kind of what else you could do kind of in that world. So that'd be interesting. Is the movie that you're working on now, is it found footage or is it regular
It's
perspective?
found footage. Yes, it's found footage. Yeah, I'm hoping to shoot that next year, but for sure.
Fingers crossed. We love found footage projects here. Yeah. No, that would be great. Yeah. I love when I meet new found footage filmmakers. I just got introduced to some recently because of Found. It's really been introducing me to a lot because there's found footage on Tubi, but it used to be like really difficult to find new found footage. So it's been really cool to be able to find stuff like Winemaker and be able to watch it and experience it. And then of course, even more so to get to talk to, the people behind the scenes who made it what it was. Well, and in front of the camera in your case, because you're one of the two main people we see a majority of the film, and that, that's impactful too. So was there any other projects you have coming down the pipeline? I know you just said you were working on another movie, but just curious.
I have two ideas, but I'm working on one at the moment. I like to be tight-lipped, but I won't really say anything. But,
No, that's okay. No, I was just curious. I was just going to give you the floor to talk about anything you wanted to. Yeah. Well, cool. Well, Winemaker was a very, very, very refreshing experience. I feel like it definitely, all the things that you mentioned wanting to do with it, I think you accomplished. I think it's very unique. I definitely think that ending is going to stump a lot of people and make them think, maybe even make them go watch it again and that kind of thing to see how they process it later. But I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad that you were able to connect with Found and get it on there. So that's been cool because it came out what was the date? I know it was a couple weeks ago.
8th of November.
8th, not the 10th. The 10th was a Sunday. Yeah. Yes. But it's part of their Found Footage Friday releases, and and I told them, I was like, I love this so much because I've been doing Found Footage Fridays on my channel for over 2 years now. And so I was like, this is perfect. This goes so great with what I'm already doing. I love it. Like, it's great. I mean, it's such an easy thing. Found Footage Fridays. It just makes sense. But anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. And the lineup for December looks great. So yeah.
Oh my gosh. They got some good stuff. One of the ones on there I messaged Monica about, and I was like, you have this for December? That's insane. I'm excited for them. I always want more found footage. Just do.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, are you on social medias as well?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. Yeah.
Instagram. Okay. So I'll make sure to put a link to where you can find Emil's Instagram in the description for this episode. But yeah, I'm excited to see more people talking about it and what else you do. If you ever, whenever your next project's ready, shoot me an email. I'd be happy to help you promote it.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Well, yeah. Well, I think that's probably going to wrap up this episode of Found Footage Fridays. Thank you again so much for coming to hang out. I talking to found footage filmmakers is such a passion of mine because they're always the most interesting conversations to hear the process of what it takes to make a found footage movie work. And so, and seriously, you know, your next project, just let me know. I'd love to have you back again and talk more about your projects, whatever comes out next.
Absolutely.
Cool.
I just want to say thank you for coming out.
Of course.
I just feel like, you know, just the whole journey of creating a movie and it's actually out there on the internet, like that's to me is quite insane. So, and that people like you are talking about it. So I'm extremely grateful just even for one person watching it, let alone many more. So big thank you to you and everyone else who's seen it. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been trying to boost it on social medias too. And of course, when this releases, which will be tomorrow, it's going to release on Friday. I'll be doing some extra boosting for it as well. I'm always encouraging people to go watch these films like this that are just so different and from newer indie creators or just people who are, even if they've been creating before, but they're just now being able to put out, you know, a feature-length found footage movie. So it's really exciting. It's an honor to do so. It's always super exciting to chat with people like you. So I appreciate that. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, yeah. So if you didn't get the message at the beginning of the episode, you should definitely go check out Winemaker. Once again, it is on Found. FoundTV is what you have to usually put in, I think, to find it for the app stores, but it's free. There's a couple of ads, more it's fine. Like it's not even that bad. It's nowhere near as bad as Tubi. So highly recommend going to check it out. I will once again have Emil's Instagram below, so you can go follow him there as well and keep up with his movie updates and everything he's doing. And yeah, I think that's all I have for this episode. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with us on this episode of Found Footage Fridays. We hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy your week coming up, and we will see you in the next one.